Okay, Wildcats, today we're looking at Thursday, October 25th, adding and subtracting multiplying polynomials on page 21. If you would, update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents are updated. Let's take a look at the examples. Now, the examples and notes I've kind of combined them into one, so they're all intermixed, okay? All right, adding polynomial steps. Step 1, combine like terms. So, if we're going to add f of x and g of x, well, f of x is here, so that's x squared. I'm going to put a 1 in front of that, x squared plus 3x minus 1, or minus 4, where did I get 1 from? Minus 4, plus g of x, which is negative 3x squared, plus I'm going to put a 1 in front of the x, plus 7. Now, the first step, and really only step, is combine like terms. So I'm going to combine the x squareds first. 1x squared minus 3x squared is negative 2x squared. Now, as I combine them, I'm going to mark them out so I don't get distracted. Okay. Now I'm going to combine the x's. So 3x and 1x is 4x, so plus 4x. And we're done with that. And then negative 4 plus 7 is plus 3. Okay. All right, so there's example 1. Now let's look at example 2. Now again, we're adding f of x and g of x. So f of x is negative 5x plus 2 plus g of x, which is negative. I'm going to put a 1x squared in front of the 1, or in front of the x squared, sorry, plus 2x plus 1. Now, whenever you're combining like terms, you always go from the highest power to the least. So it goes x squared, then x to the first power, and dot, dot, dot to the constant number, okay? So here we put the x squared first. Now there's nothing combined to it, so you have negative 1x squared. Now we move to the x's. So negative 5x and 2x is a negative 3x. So we're done with those. And then 2 plus 1 is plus 3. Okay, so that's adding polynomials. Now, let's look at subtracting polynomials. Okay, so here we have f of x minus g of x. So that's f of x, which is, I'm going to put a 1x squared, plus 3x, minus 4, minus, now whenever you subtract a polynomial, you need to put it in parentheses because you're subtracting all of it. So minus negative 3x squared plus, I'm going to put a 1 here, 1x plus 7. Now, I can't do anything with this yet. 1x squared plus 3x minus 4. Now, I'm going to put a 1 in front of the parentheses. In this instance, you have to multiply negative 1 times each term in the polynomial. So negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3x squared. Negative 1 times a positive 1 is a negative 1x. And then negative 1 times 7 is a negative 7. So let's looking at the steps. First of all, we write the subtracting, okay, and adding a negative 1, which we did. We distributed the negative 1. Now we combine like terms, okay? So I'm looking at the 1x squared and the 3x squared. So that's 4x squared. Okay, I'm done with those. And again, I mark them out so I can see what's left. Now we have the 3x and the negative 1x. So 3x minus 1x is plus 2x. I'm done with those. And then negative 4 minus 7 is a negative 11. Okay, now let's look at example 4. So f of x minus g of x. So that's negative 5x plus 2 minus, put that in parentheses, negative 1x squared plus 2x plus 1. And going into the steps, we put that 1 in front of the parentheses, and then we distribute. So there's nothing we can do with the negative 5x plus 2. Now, negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1x squared. Negative 1 times 2 is a negative 2x. And negative 1 times 1 is a negative 1. Okay, so now we combine terms. Nothing to combine the 1x squared. So we're done with that. Now we combine the negative 5x and the negative 2x is a negative 7x. Done with that. And then 2 minus 1 is a plus 1. Right? So that was subtracting polynomials. Now, this was on page 21, so this is going to go in your journal. And this is also on page 21, and that will also go in your journal. Okay? So now let's looking at multiplying polynomials using the box method. Step 1, create your box. So here, this has 2 pieces and this has 3, so it's a 2 by 3 box. So we have 2 because of that, and then we have 3 because of that term. Okay, so the 2x minus 3 is here, and then the 3x squared plus 5x minus 1. Now we multiply each pair in the boxes. So 2x times 3x squared is 6x cubed. When you multiply exponents, you add them. Okay, now 2x, that's a 1 by the way. So 2x times 5x is 10x squared. And again, when you multiply exponents, you add them. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Negative 3 times 3x squared is negative 9x squared. Negative 3 times 5x is negative 15x. And then negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3. Now it says write the new products down with the signs between them. So that's 6x cubed. That's a positive 10, so that's plus 10x squared minus 9x squared. Notice I'm keeping the x squared together, and I'm going to keep the x's together in the 3. So that's minus 2x minus 15x plus 3. Okay, combine terms. There's nothing to combine with the 6x cubed. Combine the x squareds. So 10x squared minus 9x squared is a plus 1x squared. We're done with those. Negative 2x minus 15x is negative 17x. And then plus 3. All right, now let's look at example 6. All right, so here we have 2 and 2, so our box there's 2 and 2. So I'm going to put a 1 in front of the x. So 1x minus 4 and negative 2x plus 1. Okay, so now we multiply. So 1x times negative 2x, remember when you multiply exponents, you add them, so that's negative 2x squared. Negative 1x, or 1x times 1 is 1x. Negative 4 times a negative 2 is a positive 8x. And then negative 4 times 1 is a negative 4. So we rewrite this, so negative 2x squared plus 1x plus 8x minus 4. So real simple, the only thing we can combine is the 1x and the 8x, so that's negative 2x squared plus 9x minus 4. All right, let's look at the last example. So here we multiply, so there's two pieces, so it's a 2 box. So 3x minus 1, 5x plus 8. So 3x times 5x is 15x. And again, this is 1, this is 1. So when you multiply x once, so that's x squared. 3x times 8 is 24x. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5x. And then negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. So we have 15x squared plus 24x minus 5x minus 8. So that's 15x squared combined this 24x minus 5x is plus 19x minus 8. All right, so that finishes up your notes and examples. This goes in the journal as well. So start working on this assignment, okay? So with that, have a wonderful Wildcat day.